Ladies and gentlemen, we are duping on a MDW. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on into this edition of PHLY Union. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, JP Zapata, joined as always with the lovely Renee Washington. We have fun Union stuff to talk about. We have a contract extension. In just a little bit, we will be previewing Union versus Charlotte this upcoming Saturday. But Renee, fresh off of PHLY Phillies postgame show, how we doing?
I'm good. I'm hoping we can keep the winning ways going. The Union and Phillies are all we've got right now. So good times rolling this weekend. The Phillies have been holding up their end. The Union, after last game's win, I'm hoping that I don't care who they beat. A win is a win. It was needed. A shutout, 3 goals. I know we'll get into the preview. So I'm feeling optimistic, or trying to be, I should say. There you go.
I completely get that. And listen, the whole city of Philadelphia can use some of that Phillies magic going on right now. Back-to-back sweeps. Impressive stuff. Hoping the Union can come back here with back-to-back wins, Renee. But first, before we get to the action on the pitch, let's talk off the pitch real quick, because today we got big news as the Philadelphia Union have announced they have extended the GOAT himself, Andre Blake. The number 1 overall pick of the 2014 draft. Andre signs back with the Philadelphia Union. This contract is through 2026. There will be an option of 2027. So Andre here for essentially another 2 years at least here, Renee. Big news for the 33-year-old as he's coming back. This is very interesting though, Renee, right? Because about a month ago, we got, after that Seattle loss, we had that cryptic message on the IG stories, and we were all wondering what was going on. Is Andre trying to get out? Summer's coming here. But no, Renee, he's here till 26.
Yeah, this is extremely exciting news. That's a 3-time MLS goalkeeper of the year, Andre Blake. That's the guy that, when you look at this team, has been the face of this team, dating back to that 2014 draft, which was my year, actually, ironically enough. And for Andre to have a chance to be locked in through 2026, it's remarkable for what this club is doing to really show their guys that they want to invest in them for the future. Especially, I think the timing of it with him being injured right now is even more special, to be honest, that they guaranteed that he's going to be under contract through 2026 with a club option for 2027. And I know we had a chance to hear from Jim Curtin earlier Thursday, his thoughts around, just the signing and what it means to him and what Andre means to him. This group has been built around a really strong core of veterans, and Andre is one of them. So for him to be injured right now and to be able to, even though he can't step on the pitch, and we still don't know the timeline of when he'll be back, which we'll talk more about, it's special to know that they took time to take care of business. These are the little things that go a long way, again, to invest in your guys for the future.
Yeah, no, Renee, this is interesting news, right? Because listen, it's Andre Blake. I mean, you see Andre Blake in a starting lineup, like, everything feels good. You feel warm inside. You feel safe because he's between the pipes. But here's the thing, right? We talked about it in the offseason, running it back, having the same group of people here. Now, I'm wondering if this is more of a deal to kind of, have the fans go hush hush, because listen, how do you not want Andre Blake here through 2020, as long as you possibly can, for that matter? It to me, it's just interesting the way this all came about, because we just talked about how a month ago we weren't even sure if he was going to stay here, all those cryptic messages, but he's here for this year. I think it's phenomenal on the fact that he obviously is going to stay here until 2026. It was interesting because a lot of people, I talked about it on Cousin's show this morning, on the fact that, listen, this is a guy who could be playing in Europe right now, but he's going to be here in Philadelphia. And for right now, I think for this year, obviously this is great. And hopefully, especially in that dressing room, this is what motivates guys, okay, they just secured Andre. This is it. This is our year. Let's go full force, right? So we shall see how this turns out here, Renee.
Yeah, and I know that we've talked so much about how there's a need to bring in some fresh faces. Goalkeeper's not that spot. Andre Blake has been consistently showing that he is one of the best in the league. And this year is like it's a blemish. It's a funky year because he's also been really injured. He had fluid drained from his knee. It was an ankle, it was a knee, it was a lot of leg injuries, it's a lot back injury. There's a lot going on. Obviously, he's definitely getting older, so it's good to start building for the future with an Oliver Zemla. But I know sporting director Ernst Tanner was mentioning how Andre has been such a foundational piece to the club, and his guidance, his role on and off the field, his leadership has really been helpful for the young players, for the team's success. And Jim has mentioned the same thing. Like, Andre doesn't get as much credit because he is a goalie. And had he been a forward and a goal scorer, we're talking about, the face of the team. We're talking about this in a whole different category. But as a goalkeeper, they don't always get as much love. And he is, though, the guy that's deserving of all the love and support. So I think, as you mentioned, it does say a lot for him, but also his teammates, that the union are showing we can invest in our guys. We can keep you here. Your career, Andre's entire career, if it continues here, will be with one club. That's not something that you see commonly in sports at all.
Yeah.
In any sport. So I think it is a shot, a great way to show. Yes, we know there are opportunities internationally and things like that, but you can be the best in the league, and you can be the best in the league right here with the union.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to lose sight of that, because that's so hard to do in professional sports these days, to play your entire career, especially at a high level like Andre has. Truly remarkable. Yeah. And if this deal goes, obviously goes through 2026 here, I mean, we're talking over a decade, which is truly, truly remarkable to see here. Yeah, that need definitely concern me after those comments at the press conference, but we'll have to wait and see. And it's the Zemla show for right now. It's the Zemla show, and we shall see. But we will see how Zemla will do here this upcoming weekend, Renee. As the Philadelphia Union, ladies and gentlemen, look, it's MDW showdown down in Charlotte, North Carolina, Bank of America Stadium for a 7:30 kickoff. Look, I know we haven't had a lot of success down there, all right? But, hey, we're going to get eyes from the other side now. Ladies and gentlemen, please, please, please give a warm welcome the Charlotte FC radio color commentator for WFNZ. Please welcome dear friend of mine, Jessica Charman. Jess! What's going on?
Hey, guys. I am so glad I got the little DM. I'm always excited every time we face you all, and excited to be here in the car. Not my usual standpoint, but I am getting ready. USL W League season is here. USL 2 season is here. All of the summer leagues are up and running. So I am the voice of summer soccer in Georgia, but we will be in Charlotte this weekend. And it's called the Apple TV feature. If you guys want to hear it from a different perspective, you can always switch over for a half onto local radio, and you'll get to hear me and my buddy Willie P, who you guys may remember from the Mickey Mouse viral goal call video. So that is who I'll be working with if you guys want to tune in.
Awesome. Wow. I'm so blessed. I have 2 strong pillars of the women's game here. I'm truly blessed here. Thank you. Jess, what's been new with you? How's the radio? How's calling Charlotte FC this year for you? It's the 3rd season now.
3rd season, still down every single MLS game, which is a super cool thing to kind of have that context of knowing every single game that's ever happened and having voiced them. This season's a lot easier, man. It's a lot easier with the smoothness in the locker room, the smoothness with the manager, the smoothness with the results. I mean, you guys are facing us at a pretty difficult time right now. 4 clean sheets on a row, 4 games unbeaten. The month of May has been hectic for me, as you can imagine, because I drive to Charlotte every single game. So Philadelphia will be game number 5 in the month of May, but it's also an unbeaten month of May. So that is a blessing right now. So Charlotte FC, things are bright right now. It feels kind of like, I don't want to rub any salt into the wounds of Philadelphia Union fans, because I'm blessed to be here right now. I'm excited to be giving the opportunity. But, not so bright for you guys at the moment, right? Do you think there's pressure on your gaffer? Is your manager on a little bit of a hot seat?
Oh, where do we begin?
I'll let you take this one, Renee.
Geez, you came right on with the hard question, the heavy-hitting questions, Jess.
I'm going to quote you guys on Sirius XM, just so you know this. I have this as the matchup, the managerial spotlight. So I wanted to get a Philadelphia Union perspective on the spotlight that's on curtain before I kind of spew it tomorrow morning on Sirius XM.
I think the tough part for Jim is that they haven't really given him a lot to work with, because there haven't been changes for this group. It's been a lot of small, minor signings. They haven't made any big splash in the offseason in terms of roster moves. You look over the years, and like bringing in a Julian Carranza and a Daniel Gazdag's definitely paid off tremendously. But most recently, it's been a lot of homegrowns that they've been able to develop. It's been Jack McGlynn, Nate Harriel, Quinn Sullivan. The success has come through bringing guys through the pipeline. And so knowing where the MLS is now as a league, where you see teams spending millions of dollars to be able to bring in international players that are already established, veterans, goal scorers, game changers. The Union are competing as that blue collar mentality that was successful, in helping them get a 2020 supporter shield. It's a different game now. So to be honest, he is in the hot seat, and it's a shame though, because I don't think it's just him. He's been working with the hand he was dealt, but the cards he was dealt aren't great. He's not playing with house money here. They don't spend money. They don't want to utilize any options to bring in somebody that's going to drastically make an impact. And we were talking about it before. They've been running it back with the same group. They haven't made any major changes. The starting 11 today is pretty much the same starting 11 as last year. And that's not good enough. So I think, to be honest, it's a matter of he's not really being set up to succeed, and neither is his team. But I think ultimately, as we know, coaches are usually the ones that are first to go when it's not, meeting at least expectations. So this is some pressure for him at this point, that if they don't get deeper, forget just the regular season, in terms of the postseason as well, we might be talking about the final season for Jim Curtin.
Just to add real quick to that, because Renee was spot on, but another thing too that made the Union strong was depth. Depth was a big part of it. And like Renee said, you've been running it back for 3 years straight. And the big problem is that when you have a hectic schedule too, you need bodies. You can't just play the same 11 for all these matches. 50, I think they played like 52 matches last year. That's a lot of matches to be playing with the same starting 11. And let's just run it back for the next year after
and
playing
also don't
2
forget,
matches.
50 plus matches in MLS is a different animal because the travel.
Oh yeah,
all of these English coaches, obviously I'm from the motherland, but I get mad when I hear English coaches in the Premier League moaning about travel and game schedule. Look at MLS. Look at the legroom we're putting in,
And that's the thing. They played about 58 games last year across all competitions, and they're not all local. They're changing, forget just time zones, as we mentioned, different countries. So you're dealing with a lot, and there's no depth there. So you're playing the same 13, 14 guys every game, on top of the fact that they're a core group. Andre Blake, Jakob Glesnes, Jack Elliott, Ali Bedoya are guys that have been with this club for a decade. So they already have a lot of mileage on the tank. They're already older and aging, as that around 30 crew is old for soccer, which is wild. But I do think it's just unfortunate.
That's scary.
I know.
When you're getting close to those players' ages and they're old.
I'm there. I'm like, we're like a week apart. Like I was born like a few days before you.
It is crazy. It is absolutely wild. Jess, let's talk about the Charlotte team. It's pretty impressive here, right? You guys are sitting 6th in the East. It's a difference. It's interesting the way you guys have been built this year. Obviously, Dean Smith in his first year from the Prem. You guys have allowed 13 goals, and I think we were just talking about Andre Blake getting extended. Well, here comes the Nittany Lion himself. Andrew Privet gets himself a little bit of a contract extension to 28 with an option to 29 here. What is making this defense so big? I didn't expect to be talking about Charlotte's defense in 2024, Jess.
No, it's incredible, because when you look at last year, all we talked about was conceding goals. We were the second worst defense most of the season all the way. We'd lost the most points from winning positions. We just couldn't defend. I do think a lot of that was tactical, because when you look at the personnel, it's the same back line that finished last season for Charlotte. Exact same back line in terms of personnel for the majority of the games this season. It goes to show that complicated tactics, pinched in fullbacks, all of the Pep Guardiola mindset doesn't always work at MLS. It doesn't always work with first season professionals like Andrew Privet that you mentioned. And actually, the players have the quality. They just need to be set up in the tactical ways in order to succeed. You look at this back line now, you've got Andrew Privet, Addison Malanda, 2 23-year-old centre backs. 23. First year or second year professional in Andrew Privet. Addison Malanda obviously played in the French leagues, but has only been in MLS for 2 seasons. They're the linchpins of this back line, and they're set up for success because it's a simplified man-to-man defense, easy, simple, tactical awareness. Christian Cleaner in goal. I loved what you said about goalkeepers not getting enough credit, because I'm a former goalkeeper. 1,000,000% true. Goalkeeper union for days. Christian Cleaner got in the match week this week for the first time, and he's deserved it. He's been absolutely amazing in goal this season. And I think what I like about Christian Cleaner, when I had an opportunity to interview him, he said, my job is just easier this season because the back line in front of me is doing their tasks. Our XG against, I know it's a very interesting statistic, but it's one of the lowest in the league because the quality of the chances we're giving up is minimal because of the way we're able to shut out on opportunities. And Dean Smith said very clearly when he first introduced himself to the media, I'm going to start this team by being difficult to beat, by making sure defensively we don't give up opportunities, because at the end of the day, if you don't concede a goal, you're guaranteed a point, right? And he's proved it. 4 clean sheets in a row, and I think we have 6 total clean sheets now, which is league number 1. No one would have ever thought Charlotte FC would be leading the way in clean sheets last season with the way we were leaking goals. So really happy with the way they're difficult to break down now. And confidence, a defense that's confident is a defense that is so difficult to play against because they really believe in the way they're going to shape up defensively.
Wow. So Jess, every week when we have these previews, we have a chance to connect with tremendous individuals like yourself that are close. As you talk about, like you're on every game, so you get to see the progression week to week, season to season. And every single week, it is terrifying to hear all the great things that are happening for the Union's opponent, knowing
that was me last year. Don't worry, that was me last year.
It's fine, because that's why we brought you on, to be realistic and give us the truth of what's going on behind Charlotte FC. I know, to be honest, coming in, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really expect them to be top of any categories coming into the season, just because I didn't know what to expect from this team. You talk about Dean Smith and just so many changes. But also just them having a rough end to last year. It appears like they've been able to learn from those hiccups, and now it's helped tremendously translate into this year's success.
And
whereas on the other side of the Union,
this was impressive. We're doing all of it with no designated players on the pitch.
I was going to bring that up, actually.
Petty left. Brett Diaz had a quote-unquote designated player, but the front office has been very clear that's just to manipulate TAM, GAM, whatever you want to talk about with money pockets. He's not a designated player. He'll get
Garber bucks.
No Karol Swiderski, he's out the door. No Kamil Józwiak, well, he was a failed DP anyway, but he's out the door. Charlotte's doing this with a lot of rookies, with a lot of second-year professionals. Look at freaking Patrick Agyemang, who's a household name now because of the way he plays. I think what Dean Smith has done an amazing job of, and what Charlotte is doing right now, is they don't need a big-name start. Maybe our 1 to 3. Like, we don't have the best 1 to 3 in a team. We don't have a Lucho Acosta. We don't have a Thiago Armada. But what we have is our 4 through probably 15, 16 are all quality. And what we're seeing is, even when we rotate, even when we bring in our draft pick in Tiger Smalls, which is one of the best names in MLS soccer, by the way, cool name, guy from England, Tiger, get ready for that one when we're talking about that on the game call. We're not seeing the level drop off. And I think that's where you guys talked about depth and the lack that Philadelphia Union has at the moment. When you have squad depth in these months of May where we're playing Wednesday, Saturday, when your subs, your bench can come in and play from the start and it not drop off the level, you're a team that's going to be able to succeed, which I think is why we've shown to have that steadiness throughout the season in these difficult periods of the season.
And unfortunately, that's what the Union are not having right now. Their defense has been, as a unit, it's not just their backs. It's not just the fact that Andre Blake's been out. Defensively, they've been struggling. They have dealt with injuries with Andre Blake out. And for those listening, as of Thursday in our presser with Jim Curtin, he mentioned there is no timeline for Andre yet. They know he will not be ready for this weekend, but they don't want to rush him back. Damian Lowe, center back, is back to training. He's, looks like he'll be back sooner. Jose Martinez El Brujo has been able to run. He's not doing contact. He's not 100%. So down the middle, they're dealing with some major injuries. And so to see them already struggling, giving up goals, conceding one of the worst amount of goals across the league in terms of the most, I should say, on the other side for Charlotte, tough to break down defensively. Jim Curtin was talking about that compact, organized back four. But as you mentioned on the other side, offensively, it still hasn't clicked. I know they did offload those 3 DPs. They have given up, had that 6 clean sheet, which is remarkable. But the goal scored, games are being won because of the defense, not the offense. So in terms of, the defense getting clean sheets, that obviously increases your chances. And then the offense to just be able to get enough to get points has been what I've been noticing from Charlotte. What offensively have you seen that is progressing for them with having that youth, that talent, without having the flashy name that has made them a team that can at least grind out that 1 game winning goal or grind out enough to get the result?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. It's a great point. We're not scoring goals for fun. We're not like playing beautiful, attacking, flowing soccer, but we have a little bit of magic in us to create opportunities and finish them. Look at Ashley Westwood, who scored a great goal from a set piece. You'll be a big fan of this one, JP, but Kerwin Vargas, a Colombian who is a U22 initiative player who has a bit of magic in his boots and is growing in confidence again. We're not going to score 20 goals in a game, but fortunately, like you said, because the defense is keeping us in it, we are finishing opportunities when we get them. Patrick Agyemang is a player now that has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's explained, and he's obviously got some good media training, that he's excited for this opportunity. He can't wait to be, the starting number 9. But don't forget, this guy was literally playing Division III college soccer like 6 years ago. He started as a D3 player before he transferred D1. So for Patrick, it's a huge opportunity. But with great opportunity comes a lot of pressure. And I think he showed a little bit of that pressure in recent games where maybe his head wasn't quite in it. He's getting frustrated. He's disappointed. Pat's a big dude. He's like 6'5", big, strong dude. And unfortunately, the nature of MLS refereeing is they kind of don't know how to officiate him. So one of the things that's frustrating, I think that he gets profiled because of his, and I'm not going to go into, people can read between the lines and why I think he might get profiled at times, but the foul count on Patrick really kills his flow, and he's having to learn to adjust how to keep his head up and play in the way. But I think Pat's a player that can be really dangerous running between the lines. He's got a great touch. He's not just your big, strong, tall, hold up forward that's going to head the ball. No, he can run between the lines. He can spin. He can, has got good footwork. The growing is there, but the other part about it is we've had a really tenuous time with injuries, with changing the door when it comes to the front line. And I think we're lacking a little bit of chemistry connecting between the players. So we'll see. I don't see us scoring 4 goals against you like in previous games. But I think it might be a 1 or 2 free kick. There's no Daniel Rios anymore.
Well, it's really funny that you brought that man up, because I definitely wanted to talk about that real quick, because he killed us that day. It was an absolute crazy game. So you've been here since day one, right? Where does that game rank in Charlotte? Because it's funny, we bring it up here in like Unionville, as I like to call it, and like it's like, how did we allow Daniel Rios to put 4 past us on that football, which you guys are obviously comfortable playing, but we had like the football, the yard lines, all of the hash lines.
Hey, that's only happened 2 times in history. It's a really bad commercial for us. It's not something that usually happens, but it was so annoying because obviously everyone was cutting highlights of that game because it was so nuts. And everyone's like, look at Charlotte and their football field. It's like, it's not usually like that, I swear. But no, that was one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of, mainly because if I'm completely honest, I thought you guys were going to whoop us. Like, I'm just being real here. Hopefully the players don't hear this. But yeah, I didn't go into it with much hope. I thought that for you guys, it was a must-win game, supporters shield, all of these things. And
lost the shield that night or that day.
Yeah, it was great. And Daniel Rios wasn't our starting striker. Like he, he's now at Atlanta, and I wish him the best. He's a really great guy, but he's not exactly a world beater when it comes to a forward. I just think we came into that one with like no F's given, if you know what I mean. Like, I just think it was one of those where
I know exactly what you're saying.
A lot of times against Philly, I feel like people are so worried about the way that you'll play and the style that maybe they sit back, or they're worried about attacking. They don't want to be caught on the break, all of these things. I think Charlotte kind of came into it, and Latanzio was a man that was trying to protect his job as well and needed like a statement. I think he just came into it and was like, I'm just going to do whatever I can here. And I mean, it paid off. It was a weird game, and it's one that the Daniel Rios match will go down in history. And it's actually the first time I've called a game where a player has scored 4 goals in a professional game. So,
well, Jess, what's funny is that I think the dude has like 14 like MLS goals, something low like that. And I don't know if you saw the Atlanta match earlier, but he scored against us.
Yes,
so he's
I did. I was so close to tweeting out. He only scores against Philadelphia. It's like Elias Manuel with New York Red Bulls scored a hat trick against us in the damn playoff play-in game. That dude had never scored against another club other than Charlotte. This season he's come good, but he's like the nemesis. I feel like Daniel Rios just like hates Philadelphia or something. I don't know what you did to him, but he's motivated when he plays you.
Every single time. I don't understand it either. Apparently, he is our Achilles heel, I guess you could say.
Yes.
So, yeah, you talk about, we know that 4-0 game that we're trying to still forget from 2022. The Union have won twice against Charlotte. The one loss is that 4-0 October 2022 game. And then last time they played, it was a draw. It's been a little bit of like everything whenever they go up against each other. But it seems like this year is teeing up to be once again, another unexpected matchup because you've got the Union who just finally got a win and broke their, at the time, 5-game losing or winless streak, finally got back in the win column against the struggling New England Revolution, bottom of the standings. But a win is a win, and you got to shut out. And then Charlotte, who seems like they're defensively on lock and just trying to continue to get that offensive chemistry to grow. So my question I love to always ask, what is your prediction on this game? Do you have a score prediction? Do you have an idea of how you think this one's going to go? Because I always struggle in this league to try to figure out who I think is going to win because every day something else surprising. But do you have one in mind?
I'm going to go with a 2-1. I'm going to have you guys break the clean sheet with a Gazdag penalty because, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I think that the home field advantage just gets Charlotte over the line. I mean, other than the Minnesota loss at home, this has been a truly like a fortress. Before the Minnesota loss, it was like 13 games in all competitions at home, unbeaten. Bank of America Stadium's a very difficult place to go play. So yeah, let's go with a 2-1 victory for Charlotte FC. Should we? No, I'm not going to be a jerk. I was going to say, well, score in stoppage time. No. It won't break your heart.
Those are always the worst. It's exciting, but it's whew. Okay.
And Renee, let's face it. Like we need to get another win here, simply because of the fact that listen, New England. What did they pull out there, right? Like going up to
right. I saw a red card.
Yes, the player up the majority of the game.
And listen, it was 3-0, which was cool. But like, listen, we were talking about 6 winless before that, so I think it's important down there to get yourself a good result. I mean, listen. Bank of America is not our friend, and Jess just said it. It's not easy to play there. So for me to expect the win would be tough, but can we get some points? Can we come back with some points?
You think
if I get 2 0-0s in a row, I'm going to be really disappointed. But I wouldn't put it past a 0-0 either. With how our offense has been, with how our defense has been, with the fact that you guys, maybe are trying to be a bit more conservative and grab a goal on a counter, something like that. Who knows? So.
I think this is the game where your offense is going to be able to score because, unfortunately, the Union defensively have been that for other teams. They've been that catapult of teams coming in.
You're the catalyst.
Yes, exactly. Like we're literally helping to get teams scoring goals and feeling good because everybody that's come in most recently has had issues on and off the pitch. They haven't been able to score or whatever it's been, but it hasn't been the case against the Union. So I do think we're going to get goals, guys. The Union are undefeated on the road. As bad as they've been at home, which is the first time ever in club history they've been this bad and dropped 4 losses at home, I'm actually more encouraged because they're on the road. Get away from home. So I do see
the only team in MLS that's looking forward to road games.
That's correct.
Bring on the travel.
Bring on the road trip. Go travel anywhere and everywhere but Subaru Park.
I have a 1-1 draw. If we are going to win this game, it's because Gazdag and Carranza are balling out. Because like we just heard Jess say, like, listen, Charlotte does not have any world-beating talent, right? But they play really well as a cohesive unit. Sounds very familiar. However, Gazdag and Carranza have the ability to take over games at times. So if we are going to win, those two are on, and we talk about all the time, Renee. Like that's a great partnership, those two. So I do have a 1-1 draw though.
Okay. I feel like it might be like a 2-2. I hate to say 3-2, but I actually feel like this is a game that's we're gonna get some goals.
I'll take it. It's way more fun for me.
It is
way more fun for me when the goals.
I could see 2-2, but I do feel like one thing that's I can absolutely call is that the Union are going to end up trailing 1-0, 2-0, maybe 2-1, and crawl back into it because that's also been what we've seen from the Union consistently this season. So I think Charlotte's going to come out and generate a really good early goal, and the Union are going to be playing uphill and tie things up, and it'll be exciting for all of us, except for those that have seen this every week for the Union.
Of course. Well, listen, Jess, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. She's about to go call a soccer game, and she's taking the time to talk to us. So, listen, we really do appreciate that. If you guys are ever in the Charlotte area, please check her out on the radio calls, WFNZ. Of course, she's doing the USLW. Was that what we're calling tonight?
USLW League.
I love it. Stay busy. Keep grinding, Jess. I love this.
Absolutely. Looking forward to Copa America. I'm going to Houston for the Colombia game. So looking forward to it.
Oh, I know.
Yes, do that.
All right. See you later, guys. Take care.
Have a great call.
Thank you. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this edition of PHLY Union. Obviously, Memorial Day weekend, so we won't be back on Monday, but keep an eye on. We'll be back Wednesday before the Toronto game. Yes, that is right. So, guys, thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to PHLY Sports for all your Philly sports needs. For Renee Washington, I go by the name of JP Zapata. We will see you guys next week.